Welcome to Unselfishly Me, a podcast all about self-love, self-care, and everything in between. I'm Jane, a personal trainer with a focus on self-love. Each week, we'll be chatting to someone about their self-love journey, how long it took, and what it took to get there. So today on this little podcast, we are doing like a little mini 2021 kind of astro forecast with Siobhan. I just thought it would be nice if she could give us a little bit of insight into maybe the theme for 2021, something to look forward to. And then going into December, you kind of have an idea of what your intentions are. I don't call them New Year's resolutions because I feel like that has such a negative connotation and none of us ever actually tick everything off on our list. So even goals just sounds like if you don't achieve your goal, you have failed, which I don't like at all. So I like to set intentions because then you intend to do it. But if you don't, it's okay. And you carry it over to the next month or the next year. Like it's almost like a suggestion of something that you want to do. Like you intend to do it. If you don't, it's not the end of the world, but you have all tried as hard as you can to get to that point and set the steps in place to achieve what you want to achieve. So I just wanted, for myself especially, I was like, Siobhan, tell me everything. I want to know so that I can plan my intentions and kind of choose a word maybe for 2021. I usually choose a word for the year. This year's abundance, which it has come true for me. So it's nice to know the kind of background and the theme of what it's going to be astrologically so that we can also then plan that, set an intention according to that, and then choose your word for the year. There's no harm in choosing your intentions and your word now in November or December because people are putting their Christmas trees up because we need it. So it's something nice to plan and to think about now. So she is going to give us a little insight into what she has learned so far about 2021. Welcome, Siobhan.
Thanks, Jane. Here I am on your podcast again. I feel like this is like the fifth time now. But yeah, thank you for inviting me on today to give a little update for next year because I'm sure everyone's like, whoo, like waiting for next year. This year has just been insane. If 2020 could be summed up, it would kind of be like the year when everything fell apart. And things have to fall apart so that we can put them back together, in a new way. And I think to kind of choose a word for 2021, I would choose the word community or communication. I think next year, so this year, the North Node, and in astrology, the North Node is basically our soul's purpose. It's kind of what we're moving towards. It's actually like our North Star. And we all have our own individual ones, but collectively 2020 to 2022 the North Node is in Gemini, and I think your personal North Node is also in Gemini, right?
I think so. I must look that up.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. So basically this is all about learning how to communicate properly. It's all about community. It's kind of moving away from doing everything on our own and really believing that one person is kind of has all the say over us, like in politics and everything, and just kind of coming together. And this year has kind of pushed us together. We've not been able to travel. And if the North Node is in Gemini, it means the South Node is in Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is like the gypsy traveler. It's all about travel. It's all about overseas travel. And none of us have been able to do that. We're kind of moving away from that in a way to almost embrace our local communities and supporting local instead of buying everything from overseas. So it's really about community. And what does that mean for us? Thinking before we speak and respecting each other and really listening to people. Like, I think it's been so easy to kind of just like we all just say what's on our mind, especially on the internet. Everyone's just throwing their thoughts out there. But are we really thinking before we say these things? Because our words have so much power. And I think that in 2021, we really need to be careful about how we speak, because the truth is coming out. I mean, this year, the truth has come out in so many ways, and it's going to continue to do so. So I think actually just like taking a moment to pause before we write something to someone, before we say something, before we share a post on Instagram or on any forms of social media, before we speak to our loved ones, before we gossip. You and me have been talking about gossip a lot this year. And I do feel like that's just it's so harmful, and we need to become more aware of that in 2021.
I think that will be one of my things I'm going to put down, because I don't enjoy like the fact we had a discussion about this when there was something with a mommy blogger and this person. And then I have
Mm,
friends that were WhatsApping me or DMing me on Instagram asking me the juice. And like, I don't want to be known as that person that
no.
people, I think it's just because I'm so connected and I'm always watching stories and kind of seeing what's happening. But yeah, it clogs the energy. And I think now that I'm like more in a healing space, and studying, and I need to be light, and I don't want to be heavy, and I don't want to be involved in this stuff.
Yeah.
So I think for me, that's going to be definitely one of my intentions for next year.
And that's like what that's about as well. It's like this fluidity. Like we want to kind of just be able to flow and adapt and communicate clearly and just like feel lighter in how we communicate as well, and like get rid of this heaviness and, this like attachment. And because your North Node is in Gemini, I'm pretty sure it is
It
for
is. It's in the
you.
fifth house.
Yeah, it is. So even more so, you must think before you speak, because people really listen to you. So when your North
Mm.
Node is in Gemini, and for all of us collectively at the moment, people are listening. So, are we fabricating some kind of lie, or is this the truth? Like we need to just be careful. And it does come down to respect and community. So community is going to be huge. And, me and you have also been talking a lot about supporting local and supporting friends' businesses. And that's what this is also
And how
about.
our own friends don't support us
Yeah.
compared to strangers on the internet. Like, I
Yeah.
love you, the ones that have, but the others, like, guys, please step up. I know half of you aren't even listening to this, but step up. Share your friends' Instagram posts to your stories. Like, even if you don't have money or you don't like our products, it's fine, honestly. Like, if you don't want to do your Astro with Siobhan, it's fine. Just maybe share it to your stories or post about it or on your Facebook. You don't know who's watching of your friends, your other friends, or someone who follows you that might need it, might need some healing, or my affirmation cards could literally change their life. And every day they pick a card and suddenly they've gone from having like severe anxiety and depression to looking forward to something, just have a little thought about someone, that could be needing what we have to offer. Just because you don't need it or you don't like it doesn't mean that someone else doesn't need it or need to find us through you. I mean, how amazing if you are the person that linked someone in need to us. That's something to celebrate. This episode is brought to you by us and selfishly me. We have created an amazing legacy book. It is my heart and soul that went into creating this book. Basically, it was all the questions I wish I'd asked my gran before she died. I wish I had this book filled with memories and all about her personality and her life growing up as a child. There are over 70 pages full of questions and some spaces to put photos, and it is suitable for anyone in your life. I've made it quite generic in that you can give it to your brother, your sister, your child, your mom, your dad, your best friend. You can give it to a friend to give to their partner or whoever. Basically, it's all questions that you would love to ask them and things that you probably wouldn't think to ask them. Like, what was your childhood like? Do you remember your teachers? What stood out about them? What is your dream car? What is on your bucket list? Your favorite food, your favorite color? What life advice would you give me? What business advice would you give me? What life advice and love advice? And it just goes on and on. The questions are endless. They really are fun for the person to fill in. They're fun for you to read. And I think it's important that us, as people, as parents, as friends, as children, we fill in our legacy and gift it to those that mean the most to us as well. Especially in these times, we don't know what's going to happen. No one is immune from this disease and this virus, and if you can gift a book to someone filled with all your memories and those things that really mean a lot to you, then it's really special for them to keep and to read as well. A lot of friends have been gifting them to their parents right now to fill in during lockdown, and it's just a great way of having those memories. And just in case, we don't like the what if situation, but this is a really nice way of being able to treasure those memories, those thoughts, and those feelings as well. So if it's something that you'd be interested in, you can head to www.unselfishlyme.com and head to the shop section, and it's called the Legacy Book.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's about, like coming together. And we've really seen a kind of shift from people like buying, I don't know, from like big corporations and stuff. And it does feel like this Christmas, there's like more and more people kind of putting together like locally made products, like your Christmas box, like this is such an amazing gift. And I think that's kind of what this North Node and Gemini is also about, like moving into like a more local space. And Gemini is ruled by the third house, which is all about local travel and our neighbors and our brothers and sisters, and just like providing more support to the people, like the people who are right around us, like our immediate circle, instead of always kind of focusing on like big companies overseas or that kind of thing. So yeah, community, it's becoming more and more important. And there's also going to be, so in early February, there are going to be 3 planets moving into Aquarius. So from the end of Jan to like the end of Feb, the Sun is in Aquarius, and also Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter are also going to be joining the Sun in Aquarius. So when we have a cluster of planets in one sign, and a sign like Aquarius, this is all about community. Aquarius is like the freedom seeker, and the one who is always trying to seek truth and stand up for everyone. So yeah, I'm quite excited to see what the first half of next year might look like, when there is more of a community focus, when there is more of a focus on like standing up for people and like, really providing support to people. So yeah, just coming together. And I think that's kind of when we see the best of humanity, when we do come together instead of fighting each other. Yeah, so let's see what happens. It feels like it's going to be a bit more progressive next year. Things are going to kind of start to be rebuilt a little, after all of the kind of falling apart this year. So let's see. I'm super curious, but I think it's going to be quite a positive year.
I also think that we have to be positive, like
Yeah, we do.
we've kind of hit rock bottom, and now's the time where we're actually going to almost claw our way out and claw our way up. And I think there's so much positive that is ending already the year with the elections in the US, and just seeing, and I mean, it's not a political thing, but just seeing how positive people are over there, and watching, I got goosebumps now talking about it, but watching them celebrating in the streets and coming together, every race, every gender, all coming together with their masks on, partying in the streets, and you could just see how happy and positive and light they were feeling. I mean, that's a beautiful way to start ending off the year. So that makes us more positive, and it gives everyone else the feels around the world. And that was really uplifting to
Yeah,
watch. And
very
I think
uplifting.
it's not a political thing. It's not like a blue versus red. It's literally for America. So I think as a nation, and it was beautiful to see them coming together. So I think that's a positive thing. So I just think everything's going to be more and more positive ending the year if we all come together as a community already this year, and just, still, wear your mask, sanitize, keep your social distance, be a nice person, and protect the people around you. I think that going into 2021 community wise, that is basically what we've been learning this year, whether we knew it or not.
Yeah, and respect for each other, like also respecting that, respecting like the rules in a way of like socially distancing, but respecting other people and how they feel on this matter as well. Like if it's okay with friends if you take your mask off when you go to their house, or like just respecting that some people actually aren't comfortable with that. We've like really kind of seen that this year as well. So I think respect is a huge thing. Yeah, and just like the language we use as well. So honestly, like I've seen, and just in the past couple of weeks, the words I've been using, it's crazy how it manifests. um, so I'm sure you talk about this in your manifesting 101 as well. But what we put out there, the universe is always listening. And when the North Node is in Gemini, it's listening even more, because Gemini is the sign of communication. It's all about the written and spoken word. So Yeah, if you have, you know, I think the intentions could be quite powerful this year. The ones that we kind of decide for the new year, any New Year's resolutions, things you want to manifest. Yeah, think carefully before you put that down on paper because hopefully it will come true. um, and be specific as well.
Yes, thank you. Literally, don't tell the universe that you want a new car. Tell the universe that you want the new Kia Sportage. Da, 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 da. Like literally write it down. Or you want a new job. Don't just say you want a new job. What job? What department? If you're in marketing now, do you still want to be in marketing? Or do you want to go into human resources? Like what? Like be specific because the universe is
Yeah.
always listening. And if you aren't specific, it's going to give you a different opportunity. And then you're going to be like, well, it didn't work. My manifesting didn't work. Well, you didn't say what you actually wanted. So literally write that sentence out exactly what you want to happen.
Yeah, because the universe is listening. um, yeah, and just take advantage of that as well, of this communication, you know, especially if people want to write books or anything like that, like next year is also a good year for that, for kind of getting your
Thank
voice
you.
out there. Speak up. Everyone who, I mean, we all have a voice. We all have a story to tell. So we should all speak up. We should all share, but we should just think about what we're sharing because you never know who's listening. And you want to make sure that you're putting the right messages out there as well. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Well, that is a lot of information. And I'm sure that you guys, your brains are starting to go already thinking about what you can put out there and the intentions that you want to set. And yeah, just planning for 2021 and seeing what you want to achieve. I think it's important to start, just having it in the back of your mind now and setting some intentions for yourself and choosing a word. I mean, those words are like, you can just put communication. I think community is beautiful. Um, Even for me, like obviously I work in community and that is what I've created. But also it doesn't mean if you choose that word that you're not going to be successful and be abundant. If you choose that word, it actually probably means that I will be even more because I'll be focusing on the community I already have instead of like trying to grow. I think it's important, which I've been listening to a lot of webinars, and it's just like focus on the people that already buy your products and follow you and your actual community already. Stop trying to grow your following when you need to focus on who you already have, because new people aren't necessarily actually going to buy from you. They're just going to kind of be there and not engage with you. So that's something I want to focus on next year as well. It's just kind of giving back to those who already engage with me on my platforms and creating content. I mean, we've been chatting about this, about new content we both want to put out there for next year and offerings. So yeah, community, I think that's going to be my word.
Yeah, me too, actually. Definitely. I think it's like a very selfless word as well. Um, yeah. So it's all about kind of giving back and, yeah, focusing more locally for sure.
Support us. We are local, everyone. Siobhan has beautiful gift vouchers that I have made her create for Christmas. So buy someone an Astro session. I mean, how amazing is that? Yeah. And then obviously she's going to do a full episode on her podcast. If you didn't know, tell us about your podcast so they can go and subscribe.
Yeah, so me and my friend Abby, who is a human design reader, we have a podcast called The Stars Aligned, and it connects the dots between astro and human design and all the things in between. So you can find us on Spotify and iTunes, The Stars Aligned. And you can also find me on Instagram at Luna Finula and on my website, www.lunafinula.com. Yeah, where you can find out more about my offerings and yeah, or if you just want to reach out and ask me a question or say hi, feel free.
And also your pricing on your website is in pounds, but you can just, they can DM you, hey, and then you can send.
Yes, in fact, I am going to add the price in rands this week because yeah,
Okay, cool.
I've got to focus on community, right? And that is a local community. That's where I am right now. So yeah, I will be adding that to the website.
Awesome. But yeah, send us each a DM if you have any questions. If you want to obviously get my opinion on Astro, I think you know already. I like send mine to everyone, all my friends that want to read it. I'm like, here you go. And they're like, oh my word, I've just skimmed it and it's literally so accurate. I was like, I know.
It's
Amazing.
written
Thanks.
in the stars.
And literally, I know that's what I love about it. It literally is written in the stars. Thank you for joining me today. And I'm excited to set those intentions for next year as well. And if you guys have any questions, like I said, just DM us. But otherwise, I will see you next week. Thanks for listening to Unselfishly Me. Follow us on Instagram at unselfishlyme and check out our website www.unselfishlyme.com.